The first warning came in the form of a sound. Not a shout, not a whisper, a cheer. High-pitched, rehearsed, almost gleeful, like children celebrating a magic trick. I turned from the podium, the applause fading behind me, and saw her, my wife, walking toward me with a stack of papers in her perfectly manicured hand. The same hand I once kissed after signing the marriage certificate 3 years earlier. The same hand that now trembled with anticipation, not fear. She placed the divorce documents on the table beside the retirement cake. "Sign," she said. No emotion, no hesitation. Behind her, her 2 adult children clapped like this was a performance they'd been waiting to watch. Maybe it was. A law firm CEO humiliated on his own night by the family he helped elevate, financed, protected. I felt the room tilt, but my expression didn't change. The crowd fell silent, watching the spectacle unravel under soft amber lights. Colleagues stiffened. Friends avoided eye contact. Someone coughed, someone whispered, "Is this real?" She smiled wider. "It's not personal." It was always personal. I took the pen. I signed every page without reading a single word. And then I leaned forward, slow, deliberate, until my lips brushed the shell of her ear. "You have no idea," I whispered, "what you just did." Her smile faltered, but only for a second. The betrayal didn't hit me until later that night, when the party lights had dimmed and the last false congratulations had faded from my ears. Why would she choose that moment? Why the children's eagerness? Why the rehearsed confidence? I replayed every memory from the last year. Her new shopping habits, her sudden interest in yoga retreats, the hushed phone calls taken behind half-closed doors. Small things I had dismissed as normal. But the details now felt forced, orchestrated. I stared at the empty side of the bed, the sheets still cold from where she used to lie. The scent of her perfume was fading, light, sweet, and dishonest. A deeper thought gnawed at me. She wasn't expecting a reaction tonight. She was expecting a payout. The sudden urgency, the smugness in her son's grin, the way her daughter recorded the scene like she already knew the ending. It all added up. They had planned this. And plans meant motive, money, assets, my real estate holdings, my investment portfolios, the law firm equity I had built for 32 years. She thought I would be vulnerable, emotional, blindsided. She thought I'd panic. But panic is a luxury I learned to discard long ago. The courtroom teaches you how to bleed without making a sound. So I lay there, staring at the ceiling, letting the bitterness settle beneath my ribs, letting it sharpen me. One truth pulsed in my skull. No one stages an ambush unless they're hiding something. And I intended to find exactly what it was. Quietly, clinically, without a trace. I began with her calendar, not the one she used publicly, the one synced to our shared devices, but the private one stored on her tablet, protected by a password she thought was clever. Birthdays of her children, random notes, a repeated entry, always at 5 p.m. Meeting, L. I stared at that initial for a long time. L. It could have been anything. Lawyer, lender, friend. But I've spent decades reading people, patterns, lies. And something about the clean vagueness of that single letter bothered me. Next, I reviewed our joint bank accounts, withdrawals, transfers, unusual deposits. I found 3 payments labeled consulting fees going to an account I didn't recognize. Not hers, not her children's, someone else's. The name on the account? Leonard Hartman, her first husband. The one she hadn't spoken to in years. The one she claimed abandoned the family. Interesting. I dug deeper. Phone records showed late-night calls to a disposable number. Her GPS logs revealed recurring visits to an address downtown, the same neighborhood Leonard was last rumored to live in. The pieces began aligning with a cold, tidy cruelty. She never planned to build a new life with me. She planned to rebuild her old one with my money. I gathered evidence quietly: paper trails, emails, bank logs, real estate deeds. My contacts in the investment division sent me reports she never expected me to request. Everything led back to one conclusion: they wanted to drain me. My assets, my equity, my retirement package, my firm payout. They assumed I would be too distracted by betrayal to protect myself. They forgot what I am: a strategist, a lawyer, a man who has destroyed empires with a single clause. All I had to do now was wait for the perfect moment. The moment where silence speaks louder than rage. The truth arrived in a white envelope, one of those thick, confidential packets my firm used for internal investigations. Inside were certified copies of everything: her transfers to Leonard, her forged signatures on documents involving my properties, and, the most damning, her emails detailing how she planned to strip me of assets before publicly humiliating me at the party so I'd be too embarrassed to fight back. I read every word, slowly, without blinking. Then I printed the most incriminating page and slipped it into a leather folder. I didn't call her. I didn't warn her. I simply asked her to meet at the cafe she loved. Neutral ground, bright lights, witnesses. She arrived smiling. Until she saw the folder. Until she saw my eyes. I slid the document across the table. She picked it up with trembling fingers. Her face collapsed in real time. Slow, jagged, like glass breaking under pressure. Where did you get this?" I didn't answer. Her voice cracked. "Please, it's not what?" I tilted my head slightly. A quiet reminder. I already knew every answer. When she finally looked up, mascara smudged beneath her eyes, I delivered the final blow with the same tone I'd use in court. "I filed my response this morning," I said, "along with evidence of marital fraud, asset conspiracy, and collusion with a former spouse." Her mouth opened, but no sound came. "Your divorce petition," I continued, "has been nullified, legally defective. You never expected me to fight back, but I started preparing the moment you handed me the pen." Silence. Her hands shook. "My lawyers will contact you," I said, "and your children." Her face twisted. "My kids have nothing to do with." They participated in an asset diversion scheme. Adults, legally responsible. You should have taught them better. A single tear fell. Not out of guilt, out of fear. And then I stood, calm, composed, untouched. "You didn't ruin my life," I said quietly. "You revealed yours." She reached for me, begged, pleaded. I walked away. 3 months later, the court ruling was final. She lost everything she tried to take. Her children owed restitution. Leonard fled again. And she, once proud, loud, untouchable, looked small when the judge read the decision. I felt nothing. No joy, no triumph. Just clarity. I sold the house, closed old accounts, tied every loose thread with surgical precision. People keep asking if I'm okay, if I'm healing. They don't understand. Healing is for wounds. This was a revelation, a shedding, a return to self. On the last morning before I moved into my new apartment, I found the pen she made me sign with at the retirement party. I held it for a moment, then I dropped it in the trash. Some things aren't worth keeping. Some people never were. And as for her last words to me, the ones she threw like knives at my party, I finally have an answer. "You should have known better than to attack a man who builds traps for a living."